Good day everyone, Mr. Cargill here with our next AutoCAD video. Now for this video we are going to be looking at how we go about constructing an epicycloid. Now the epicycloid is the locus of a point that you will get when if you should track the point on a circle that rolls on a next circle for one complete revolution. So you have this circle right here and you have a smaller circle. When this circle rolls, when it makes one complete revolution, this point right here is currently, this point at 0 is currently making contact with the larger circle. When this circle rolls and makes one complete revolution and then this point makes contact with the large circle again over here, if you should track at that point all the way, the curve that you'll get will be an epicycloid. It says that the epicycloid rolls on the outside of a circle and the hypocycloid rolls on the inside of a circle. So over here we have the hypocycloid, but we'll just be looking at the epicycloid for this video. It says the construction is similar to the cycloid except that the angle must be calculated. Alright, so this angle here, this angle right here, we have to calculate that angle, and it's similar to the cycloid because this is a cycloid right here. The difference is that the cycloid rolls on a straight or a flat surface while the epicycloid will have a circle rolling on a curved surface. Now for this here we need to calculate this angle. It says if the diameter of the base circle is 180 millimeters, so if the diameter of this large circle here is 180 millimeters and the diameter of the rolling circle, the smaller circle, is 60 millimeters, the formula must be used. And this is the formula right here. It says the angle equals 60 degrees times the diameter of the rolling circle over the diameter of the base circle. So that equals to 360 degrees times 60 over 180. Since 60 is the diameter of the rolling circle and 180 is the diameter of the large circle, and the angle that we get is 120 degrees. Okay, so this angle here is a total of 120 degrees. So far we have the diameter of the large circle, the diameter of the smaller circle, and the angle. And with that information we can head over to AutoCAD and start our drawing. Alright, so we're going to start with the diameter with the large circle. So the large circle has a diameter of 180, which means that the radius will be 90. Alright, so there is our large circle. Now the small circle will have a diameter of 60, but we need to know the angle at which that circle would be. So right here, this line, we need to know what angle that line is at. Now if this is a total of 120 degrees, so if we had a 90 degree line right here in the middle, that would separate this half into 60 degrees and this next half into a next 60 degrees. Alright, so if this is 90 plus 60 would be 150, so that means that this line will be at an angle of 150. Alright, 150 degrees. And then over here, if you subtract 60 from 90, you would get 30. So this angle, this line is at an angle of 30 degrees. And you can clearly see that that's correct because if you subtract 30 from 150 you will end up with 120, which means that the total degrees in that between those two lines will be 120 degrees. So we can do that. So all you have to do here is to turn on polar tracking and set our angle to 30, and then from here now let me use a different color. It's gonna be a colorful drawing because there have a lot of different parts to it. Let's use the blue. Alright, so here this line is at 30 degrees. Let me just extend it out a bit because you're going to need it to be all the way out. And then over here this line now will be at 120 degrees. Alright, and we can always calculate the angle if we're not sure if something looks off. So go to utilities, measure, select that, and then select the angle, and then you just click on this line, click on that line, and it tells you that the angle is 120 degrees. Alright, 120 degrees, so we know that's correct. So the next thing we're going to do now is to divide this into 12. Well, before that, let's draw a smaller circle. Let's draw a smaller circle. So our smaller circle is our small circle has a diameter of 60. Alright, so that means that the radius is 30. So from here, from this point, I'm going to draw a circle with a radius of 30. I could have drawn a line also. So that right here, where this circle meets this line, right here. I didn't have to do that. I could have come here, just move my cursor up, type 30, and then it would have given me this point right here. So I didn't have to draw the small circle. This is just the next way to do it. So now right at this point here where the line meets the circle from here, at that intersection, I can now draw my circle, and it will just come all the way down to this point right here. Or I can just type 30 for the radius. It will work out to be the same thing. Alright, so now I can get rid of this circle. Alright, so there we have our circle. Good. So now, with that, I'm going to trim off the bottom half of this circle. So let me trim by using TR and enter twice. So the shortcut is TR, enter, and then enter again. So the reason for us cutting off the lower half of the circle here is because we want to divide this part of the circle into 12. Alright, so now here's what we're going to do. I'm going to type divide, and I'm going to click on this arc, and I'm going to type 12, enter. Now you don't see the division points, so to see the division points I'll have to type DDP, press enter, sorry, DDP, select DDP type. Once you select DDP type, you can select any one of these markers that you want to use to mark your points. I normally use this one, and a 2 is normally a good size for this. 2 is not too big or too small. And there we have our division points. Alright, so from here we can, alright, no, that's just one way to do it. We did not have to use the division points. And next way we could have done this is to do this. We could have simply just changed this angle here from 30, 60, and 90 and so on to just 10. So that means that every 10 degrees we get an X line. And I'm doing it both ways so that I can show you that it would work out to be the same thing. Alright, so let's get some more lines through these points. So every 10 degrees I'll get an X line. So that green line tells me that that's an X 10 degrees. And you can see that it clearly meets right at that point. So both method works. You can just set the degree that you want, and then you can use the division points. And here, if you want to set it to a specific angle that is not located right here, you can just turn on tracking settings, and then when you're going to tracking settings, you just set the increment angle to whatever angle you want to set it to. Okay, and then from here now I can just do this, get all those points up like that. Now once I get this one here, the one in the middle, which would be the 90 degree line, I don't have to do over this side. I can just simply mirror this. So I can select all of these lines here. I don't want to select the 90 degree one. Yeah, I can select those lines there. Turn on ortho and then select the mirror command. Alright, and then I'm going to mirror this now. And if I just bring my cursor up like that, click up here, it's going to ask me if I want to erase the source object. It says erase source object. So I'm going to click no because I want to keep the source object, which is these lines over here. And just like that, it now divides. We now have the lines over here as well, so we didn't have to redraw the lines. We could just mirror it, and it kind of looks like a nice little, like the sun with the rain and everything going out. Now here we are going to into 12 equal parts, and we're going to do that by doing this. Let me just select a dark line like for like a construction. And then I'm going to mark these points here. So what I did was to draw a line from the quadrant at the top to the quadrant at the base of the circle. Now for the quadrant, you can simply just click on object snap and turn on quadrant right here. So I'm going to select the next line and I'm going to join this quadrant to this quadrant over here. So now once you have that done, once I have all the quadrants joined like that, I'm going to now use the polar array to divide my circle into 12 equal parts. So I'm going to select array and I'm going to click on array polar. But before I do that, let me just click on these lines first. Click on these lines and then select array. I could have done it afterwards as well. And then click in that point right here. And once I click in that point there, it gives me this. Divides my circle into 12 equal parts. Nice. So now this line here, this point is going to be an important point. This is our first point, so this is 0. The reason for this being 0 is because this is the point right here that is making contact with the large circle. So the rolling starts from there. This is where the rolling begins. So we are going to label that. So let me just select text, and you can click the drop down arrow and select a multi-line text. And I'll just create a little box, and then you can type what you want. So I'm going to type 0 since my point 0 is what I want. So I'm going to just change the color of that to a brighter color like this green. I'm going to make it a little bigger by scaling it up by twice the size. So just click on the scale command right here, or type scale. And then I'll just type 2, enter, and now it's twice as large. So now I'm going to copy this. I'm going to turn off ortho. Copy this from here. I'm also going to turn off object snap because I don't want it to snap to the point here. I'm going to bring my 0 to all the different points, and then I'm going to change the value of the 0. And to this point as well as here, 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 and all of these points over here. Alright, so now I'm just going to input the correct values. The numbering is the part that always takes some time. Let me ensure that I'm numbering it correctly. Yeah, I wasn't, because if this is 0, this would have to be 1, because if this point is currently in contact with a large circle, then this would be the next point to make contact with the circle as the in that direction, right? So this would have to be 1. And which would make this 2, and so on and so forth. Now this drawing is a drawing that you will see on a number of engineering or plane geometry questions, or like exams, past papers, and so on. It's a very popular drawing. So this would be 0.7. Over here we have 8. This is 9. Then 10, and we finish with 11. Alright, good. So once we have that there, then we can now number these parts right here. I could edit out the numbering out of my videos, but the reason why I don't edit the numbering is because I just want to show every single thing that I do. I don't want to skip any steps. So, you know, if I'm just doing some numbering and you already understand how that is done, then you can just skip through the video to where I finish, where I'm finished with the numbering. Alright, so now this is 0 here, so over here this will be 0.1. and this is 2. Which makes this point 3. Quattro, well, yeah, cinco. This is 0.6, and 0.6 is an important point because this is the midpoint. All right, and then we have 7, 8, then points 10, 11, and 12. So 10, 11, and finally, last but not least, we have point 12. Lovely. All right, now once we have that, the next thing we're going to do is to get these curves right here. These curves, we have those curves, all those curves. We're going to get those curves. Now, this is how we go about getting those curves. We're going to use circles, and we are going to use, yeah, we're going to use circles, and the circles are going to come from the center point right here. So let me turn on up now. It's going to come from this center point here, and they're going to touch each of these points. So point 11 there. All right, so the curve goes like that, and then we'll get the next circle. You can just use press space bar twice to get back the same command. So I don't think that went to the right point. Yeah, that didn't go to the right point, so let me delete that one. Select the next circle, and this should come to this point. There we have it. That's at the correct point. And then now we'll do this one to 9.9 here. Okay, then we will do 8. Well, not like that. We'll do 8 like this. 7, and finally we will do 0.6. Now, as you can see, the line, the curve that goes through, or the circle that goes through 8 also goes through 4, 9 goes through 3, 10 goes through 2, and 11 goes through 1 as well. But we also need one from the center of the circle. As you can see right here, we have a curve that goes through the center of the circle, and that's a very important curve. So let's put that curve in our drawing, and let's give it a different color because I want to differentiate. Let's use cyan, and from here to the center, right? Let me just ensure that it's exactly in the center, and there we have it. Nice. Now what we are going to do here is mark some points. Again, we keep on marking points. So the center of our circle, we're going to call the center of our circle C. So let me copy this to help me with my numbering. All right, let me copy this to help me with my numbering, because I don't want my numbers to be, I don't want my numbers in the middle of the drawing to be as large. So I'm going to scale this back down by 0.5. I'll just click on the circle, click on the scale, and click 0.5, which made it half the size. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is to copy this and bring it. So let me turn off object snap. I don't want it snapping to anything. So this is the center of my circle. Alright, so I'm going to bring these points to but the next points are going to be where these blue lines meet the center line. So that's why I give the center line a different color. So this is the center of the circle, so let's call that C. So this would be C1, C2, so on and so forth. All of these points. So the blue line means the cyan line, which is the center line. Alright, so all of these points here, all of these points. Lovely. So once we have all of that, we can now change the values. So let's call this C. Since it's the center, this is C. And the next point will therefore be C1, C2, so on and so forth. And we these points and labeling these points and labeling them correctly is very important, because you're going to have a lot of points in this drawing. We already have a lot of points, and if they're not numbered, then it might be confusing when you start to like plot your points and stuff like that. So we always label our points to ensure that we do not get confused, and we always remember where our points are. So that's 5, the center, C6, which is an important point, as you will see as we go through the drawing. 67. Over here we have 8. Followed by 9. Well, not 9. C9. A very special 9. And then C10. 11 and 12. All right, so there are our points. So now we can start to plot our points as we move. So right here we have our different points, and we are going to start plotting our points. Okay, and we will see different points and all the points will react and so as the circle moves. So here we have this point here. All right, from C to 0 here is 30. We know it's 30 because the diameter of the circle is 60, so the radius would have to be 30. But if you're not sure, you can always measure. So from C, let me turn on the back objects now. From C to 0 should be 30. All right, and it is indeed 30 right here. Now we're going to select this line, a construction line. We're going to select a circle, and I'm going to draw a circle from C1, then I'm going to copy that circle to all the different points on C. So this is C1 right here, where the cyan line meets the blue line. So I'm going to draw a circle from there. All right, and this circle is going to, of course, have the same radius, which is 30. Good. And then now I'm going to copy this circle to all the different points. Everybody gets a circle. So from 0 to, from 1 to 2 to 3 over here, 2.4, 5, and 6. Also 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Nice. So now we have all those points. So once we have all those points now, this is what we're going to do. We are going to now have all the points needed to plot our epicycloid. So we can start plotting our epicycloid. So I want to use a very bright color. I think magenta is a nice color to use. All right, and now I'm going to type spleen or spline. Some people call it any one of those names. SPLIN. So we select that right here. Well, SPLINE. We select that, and then we're going to start from 0. So now this is point 0 right here. Okay, now in plotting our points, our next point is going to be right over here, right at this point right here. Now this is where numbering becomes very important. This is C1. This is the circle that comes from C1. Okay, and this is the curve that goes through 1. All right, so the circle that comes from C1, which is this circle right here, meets that curve that goes through 1 right here at this point. So that's our next point. So our next point will be the circle that has the center C2. This circle at C2 is right here. So this is the circle that has the center C2. And this circle meets the curve that goes through point 2 right here. So that's our next point. Okay, there. And now the circle with the center C3, right? The circle with the center C3, which is this circle right here, meets the curve that goes through 3 right here. And that's why I gave the center line a different color as well, because I didn't want to mix up these two lines. Okay, so then we have that. So now we move on to 4. All right, so the circle with the center C4 is this circle right here. All right, this circle right here, and this circle meets the curve that goes through 4 right here. Good. So this is circle 4, which means that the next circle would be circle 5 right here, and circle 5 meets the curve that goes through point 5. This is point 5 here. All right, so the circle 5, which is this circle, meets the curve that goes through 5 right here at this point, right there. And then now circle 6, circle with the center C6, is this circle here. Okay, I'm just looking and double checking to ensure that that's correct. All right, so this is the circle with the center C6. All right, and this is the curve that goes through point 6. So that's why I said point 6 is a special point, because it represents the top of the curve. So we click there and we have that. Now we can continue the curve and we can get all the other points, or we can just press spacebar. Now with that we have half of the curve. We have a half of the curve. Good. And with that half of the curve, actually I think I'll change that from magenta to yellow. I think yellow might be brighter. Yeah, yellow is brighter. And with this now, we have half of the curve. So that means that if we should mirror this over this side, then we would complete the curve. So we don't have to draw it past 0.6. We can just mirror. So we'll click on the line, we'll turn on ortho, we'll click on the curve, sorry, turn on ortho, and then we will select the mirror tool. Click on 0.6 right here, which is a tangent, and then cursor up and just click there. And it says if we want to erase source object, we'll click on no, because I want to keep the source object. Escape, and then just like that, you have your perfect epicycloid. All right, you have your epicycloid, and as you can see, it meets all the points. It ends right exactly at point 12. This is where the circle from 11 meets the curve that goes through 11. The circle from 10 meets the curve that goes through 10, 9, and so on and so forth. All right, so that with that you would have your completed epicycloid. Let me just recap how I go about plotting the points. Start at 0. Then this is the circle here. This circle has the center C1. It touches the curve that goes through 1 right here. This circle has the center C2. It touches the curve that goes through point 2 right there, and so on and so forth. And up to a point, and we complete our epicycloid. Okay, so that is how you go about completing an epicycloid. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please drop a like and a subscription. We're close to reaching 1,000. And have a good day. See you again.